This is the 120th Taiku in the Babylonian Talmud. And it appears, I should say, in Tractate Bava Kamma, page 19a, with the words Boy Rav Ashi, and I think it's right after the previous one, which was also on 19a. I'm going to check for a moment and see that the 119th Taiku was also, in fact, in Bava Kamma 19a. So we're in 19a, the one with Boy Rav Ashi. Koach kocho lesumchos kekocho dami olo. Rav Ashi raises another dilemma with regard to pebbles. According to the opinion of Sumchos, that one pays the full cost of the damage in the case of propelled pebbles, what is the halacha with regard to damage caused by a force generated by a force? Generated by the animal's action. I'm trying to think of a good example. Maybe it's kind of a far out thing, outlandish, but let's just say the animal kicked a pebble, and the pebble hit a piece of machinery, and it happened to hit the button to turn on the machinery that malfunctioned, and it exploded, and then one of the screws of the machine shot out and damaged something. That might be an example of koach kocho. It's like a second degree. It's like this force caused this thing to happen. So we want to know, what would Sumchos say in the case of a koach kocho? Is the status of that secondary force like the damage caused by a force generated by its action, in which case the owner is liable, or is its status not like that of damage caused by a force generated by its action? Mi gemir halacha umokila lekoach kocho odinma lo gemir halacha klal teiku. The Gemara elaborates, did Sumchos learn the halacha that one pays half the cost of the damage caused by pebbles as a tradition transmitted to Moses at Sinai, and he interprets that tradition as applying in a case where the damage was caused by a force generated by the action of an animal. By contrast, in a typical case of damage caused by pebbles, which is an example of a force generated by the action of an animal, the owner pays the full cost of the damage, as it is a subcategory of trampling. Or perhaps he did not learn any halacha as a tradition in this regard at all, and therefore even in a case where the damage was caused by a force generated by the action of an animal, the owner pays the full cost of the damage, as it is a subcategory of trampling. The Gemara concludes this dilemma too shall stand unresolved until the coming of Messiah, when we ask, apparently not the Messiah, Elijah the prophet, for the answer. Now what's ironic about this is that it seems like by the time the Messiah comes, all these cases are going to be completely irrelevant. I mean, you don't have oxes walking around today that shoot pebbles out of its feet that ricochet off something and make it explode, and then something shoots out of that, and we need to desperately know what the answer is. I would venture to say that it never happened in the history of mankind, any of these cases, ever, even back then. But be that as it may, this is the 120th Taiku in the Babylonian Talmud, and we will not have the answer until the Messiah comes and Elijah the prophet tells us the answer. May it be soon and in our day. B'mheira b'yameinu.